What's going on, guys? Chuck here with another awesome Blu-ray purchase. What I got today is something that I had not heard of, had no clue about. Strictly a blind buy from Severin, and that is from 1985, Student Confidential. Like I said, this was something I had never heard of, not aware of whatsoever. But when I read the description on here, well, first of all, the image grabbed my attention. Take a look at that. That is, I don't know, something about that just grabbed my attention. Like, what is this? This sounds interesting. And I read the description on it and some of the detail, I guess, behind the scenes. I don't know what you want to call it. And I thought, okay, that sounds very interesting. I'm going to take a chance on that. And what you got here is a film by a guy who knew nothing about making movies, had no experience whatsoever. He's a self-made millionaire. Was it Richard Horian was his name? An inventor, and I believe he got rich creating or inventing a certain kind of, I think it was vinyl cleaner. I'm assuming like for records and whatnot, different any kind of vinyl, I guess, whatever it was. But it became very popular, and it made him millions of dollars. And he decided, after he made all his millions, he's like, my real passion, I really wanted to make a film. So darn it, I'm going to make that film. And he went head first into making a movie without knowing anything. And to his credit, he got it done. And that film is right here. Student Confidential, also known as The Counselor, as is the theatrical cut shown on here is called The Counselor. So I mean, that's awesome. He's only done 2 movies, and both basically his own thing. Not only he wrote, directed, produced, scored it, edited it. I mean, did everything on it. It's a total vanity project. But he got some interesting people to cast. I mean, he got a Playboy playmate in a role. He got Eric Douglas, I believe it was, the son of Kirk Douglas, half brother of Michael Douglas. In this film, he had Kirk Douglas do notes on his script, which Richard totally ignored and did his own thing. But I admire that. That's really cool. I mean, a guy who, I said, the average person would come in here being intimidated, wanting to make a movie, but have no clue of what you need to do or who you need to contact or what. But you have the funds, and you're just going to go in and do it. And not only do it, but do it the way you want to and get it done. And I guess the only people that took it or distributed it was Troma. And it's a good thing to do because, you know what? This actually is not a bad film. I mean, it's not great. But it's a great oddity. It's hard to explain. Basically, the gist of this film is Richard Horian plays a rich guy who decides he's going to be a counselor. He's very robotic, stiff, his very analytical mind. He's very cold. He's like, he has no feeling. His wife is, basically telling him he's more or less, a dead fish. She's a robotic. Has no feelings whatsoever. But he decides to be a high school counselor, and he's going to change these minds. And he picks out 4 students in particular who are troubled. You have one girl, and I don't remember their names. I just watched last night. I didn't take any notes. I'm free flowing this. But the one girl who is, she's a very attractive woman. She's basically was a Playboy playmate, who is very shy. She's got a scar on her face from an accident years ago, and it's kind of made her, self-conscious, and she can't relate with her other classmates or whatever. So he's going to bring her out of shell and help build up her confidence. You have, was it Marlon Jackson, one of the Jackson brothers, the Jackson 5, in here as a computer geek, more or less. And he's all he cares about is computer. He's got a sweater vest, bow tie. He's just running his computer. That's all he cares. Just want to be his computer. The counselor's going to help him out and tell him that there's more to life than the human touch, all that. But I can help you be self-driven. There's a girl who basically she wants to be an actress, but her idea is just to trade favors for parts. And most time it means nothing is being used, and he's gonna help her get to the right way. And then you have the Johnny. I remember his name, but, played by Eric Douglas. He's like the cool guy in school. He just he's got the dad at home who wants him to be more than he was. His dad works in a machine shop, and Johnny's like he doesn't want to do that. He's got a mind for mechanical engineering. He wants to build stuff. About he's a straight A student basically, except for the whole idea of machine shop he doesn't want to do, and the counselors are going to help him and talk to his dad and work out. Basically, he's going to change all his kids' lives. But deep down, this guy has got problems of his own. He realizes he's a mess, psychologically, emotionally stunted, and he does all this work to help them. But at the end, these kids are going to help him out too. It's crazy. That's the gist. Also, I should mention that was it Ronnie Blakely, I believe her name is. Can't remember if it's on here or not, but it's on here. Yeah, Ronnie Blakely. You'll recall her from as Marge, Nancy Thompson's mom from A Nightmare on Elm Street. She plays his secretary on here, which is interesting. I think this is after Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously, in '85. The only thing I know her from is this and doing the film Nashville back in the '70s. Oh, wait, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street. But that's what I meant. So she has a fun part in here, which is, like I said, I've never seen her in anything really except for Nightmare. I know she was in Nashville, but I never saw Nashville. Off topic. It's I don't know how to describe this, honestly. It plays like it's going to be your typical kind of high school raunchy high school romp, but it's not. It tries to have a serious edge. It's like, I guess, something like akin to Dangerous Minds or The Substitute. Actually, probably more like Summer School. I don't know. It's a weird mix like that. The counselor is just gonna change these hearts and minds, but learn a little about something about himself as well. It's crazy, but it is fun. It's not dull at all. It's like about an hour and a half, close to 90 minutes. And I swear when it was over, I'm like, that's it? It's over that quick? It flew by. And I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking. He got good people behind, the scenes to help to film it. You actually got an Academy Award winning set decorators, Academy Award winners for La La Land, who did this, the set decorations, and other Oscar nominations and wins, which is impressive. Of course, it's '85, so it's far in the future. You've got highly credited cinematographers doing the work. So he hired good people, but he had his own vision, and I say he worked it. And it's impressive. I for a guy who didn't know anything about editing or directing or writing music. It's actually an interesting score. He said, he just did with like a simple Casio keyboard, put some stuff together, clipped it, edited it, there you go. When you hear a person has done a film with no knowledge, you're thinking people who do like stuff straight to video, really cheap. This for a first time effort until he had the money behind it, which is, I mean, not a whole lot of money, but enough money to make it look like a professional film. So kudos to the effort in that. And like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's a fun little watch, just for the absurdity of it all, and to know how it was made or the story behind it is great. And so I'm really glad that Severin did this. Now this is a Blu-ray debut apparently, because I don't know if it's ever got any kind of other release. This was a release through Troma. It wasn't a Troma film, but one of the films that Troma, distributed. And I couldn't find hardly anything about this at all online. There's nothing on Wikipedia. There's a very little bit of it on IMDb. I guess you could probably do a bigger Google search, but there's a lot of interesting stuff on the special features on here, which I'll get into. But this is a nice release. There's your slipcover of your characters. Here's your Johnny. This is the girl here that. Oh, these aren't really good representations of them, but art-wise, she's the one that wants to be the actress who's like, trading her body for body. There's Marlon Jackson as the geeky nerd, and of course, here's your model or the young girl with the scar on her face. She's so beautiful and she's so shy. And actually, here they are in the back here, which is really cool with their little notes. And it's interesting. I'm watching the film. I'm looking at Eric Douglas there. I'm like, why does he look so familiar to me? Something about his face. And then when I watched the behind the scenes and they mentioned who he was, I'm like, oh, that's why he looks like, Kirk and Michael Douglas. So here's the artwork on the disc, which I like this. This is very reminiscent of something like Class of 1984. That's probably what they're going for, but to a lesser extent. And here's the back with all your features and whatnot. It is a 2-disc set. And what's interesting is this first disc here. Oops, upside down. This disc here is a podcast called Vanity Project. I guess it's all 6 episodes, I believe it, of the podcast talking with the director and the making of this film, which is pretty cool. And of course, here you've got the film itself and all your special features, which let's go over those real quick. So we have an audio commentary with director Richard Horian, moderated by filmmaker Nicholas McCarthy. That's only for the theatrical version. I should also mention there is a theatrical and a new director's cut, which I only watched the theatrical version. And according to the notes, when you pull up the director's cut, what it is I guess Richard Horian decided to take out 2 scenes that he thought were superfluous. So that's really the only difference in the cut. I don't know what those scenes were, because I did not watch the director's cut. I'll probably go back and check it out. And I wonder, actually, looking at it, if maybe the director's cut will have the student confidential title, because like I said, the theatrical cut, the title on the title card says a counselor, not student confidential. Anyway, you also have a Richard Horian revealed interview with writer, director, producer, editor, composer, star Richard Horian. Oh yeah, I should also mention, if I didn't, he's a star of the film. Did I mention that? I don't know. The focus on him, and for a guy who has no acting experience, he's fun to watch. He's got very expressive eyes, and his facial expressions are just kind of, I don't know, very telling. I mean, I think they're pretty good. I mean, they're probably a little over the top in some cases, but again, for a guy with no experience, and he's directing himself with no experience, it's not bad. I've seen worse. Okay. And then you have Acquired Taste, Lloyd Kaufman on Troma's theatrical pickups of the 80s and 90s. This is just a quick little vignette or featurette with Lloyd Kaufman. Basically, the interviewer is throwing out titles that Troma picked up, bought, and just released or distributed, but didn't really make. And it's kind of Lloyd commenting on each one, if you can remember what they are. There's a couple he doesn't remember early on. Most of them he remembers and gives you a little anecdote on that particular film. You have the making of Student Confidential, which is about 20 minutes or so. Interview with some of the actors from the film, which is and actors and some of the crew, which is pretty fun. You have the theatrical trailer, the TV spot, and then the Troma trailer, which is great, because the Troma trailers always have that one guy with that voice. I can't do it, but it's a real deep, overdramatic voice for Troma. He's almost in every one of the Troma trailers. So yeah, and of course, Disc 2 is the Vanity Project 6-episode podcast about Richard Horian and the making of Student Confidential, featuring ambient video created by filmmakers Nicholas McCarthy, Graham Resnick, and Zena Gray. So yeah, this is a fun movie, fun Blu-ray disc from Severin. As a blind buy picking up, I'm happy. I really enjoyed this a lot. I was really surprised, and not really knowing what I was in for. I mean, the fact that I had read that it was a guy with no experience making film, I figured, okay, this could be really, really bad, but it's not. It's a lot of fun. It's a quick, easy watch. There's a lot of good nudity if you're into that. It's a very simple, generic story. Nothing really hard to follow. But you watch it for Richard Horian, and his acting is I won't say great, but it's fun. It's a fun, interesting watch. So, and there it is, Student Confidential from 1985. This was from Severin Films. Check it out. All right, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this, click thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. Let me know if you've seen Student Confidential or the Counselor. What are your thoughts on it? Or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I'll see you on the other side.